So one of the things you'll see when you make the switch, if you join our team, is we focus on every step of the way and what to say and when. We talk about how to prepare your vehicle so that when you get out of the car, it's ready for you to get back in the car, like turn off your car radio so that when you get out of a listing presentation, you can kind of debrief and figure out what went right, what didn't go right, what did you say that sent them on a tangent if that happened, those sorts of things, all the way up to and including when you ring the doorbell and they open the door, the first thing we say is, "Are you ready to get your home sold?" Which kind of puts them a little bit on their heels, but they also show their cards. They tell you what their objections are right then and there. They're like, "Well, depends on what you're going to charge me or what you think it's going to sell for or whatever," right? So
Okay.
we script everything and then we go into the home and we put our laptop bags down. We get a tour, we build rapport. You're probably great at this because you'll notice, oh, you like fishing too, so do I, or whatever, right? And so you bond and build rapport, but we're also assessing the home for whether it's an as-is sale, which should go on the MLS, or maybe it's a moving concierge candidate because it's dated and a rehab would do it justice. We also will feel them out for timing and motivation. So maybe the cash scenario is the best way to go. And in fact, I'm going to show you, let me get it open here. We have a little one pager that we use for those three scenarios. And it looks like if it'll open.
Might be hard to see on my phone. I'm gonna try.
I can't even tell you're on your phone.
Oh, oh yeah, that's so tiny. I can't see anything.
How about that? Is that better?
No, but we'll roll with it. I see an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah. So this column is the cash as is deal. And we have a marketplace of hedge funds that we actually at EXP can upload transactions into and get the hedge funds to bid against each other. So that's scenario number one for any seller. Scenario number two is, hey, this is what I think it would sell for if I put it on the market, and I'll give you coaching on how to get it staged and make it look as nice as it can without going and doing a remodel. And then scenario number three is, what if we were to remodel it? And one of the unique things about our moving concierge program is, we're not the only one in the market that does it, but ours is one of the only ones that has an unlimited budget. And I've done $300,000 remodels using this program so that people then sell it for 400. I think you just got muted.
Can you hear me? Am
Yeah,
I still on here? Okay,
was
Yeah, I had to turn that call off. Sorry.
that was impressive because I could see your hands. You were looking at us, and with no hands, you turned on your mute. That was impressive. So
No,
anyway,
it automatically turned on. Sorry about that.
that's all right. So I'm going to just hit print preview so you can see that this is just a one pager. And then what these columns are down on the lower half are, these are the things I'm going to suggest you do to your house, whether we're going on the market as is or whether we're going to remodel it. This lower section says complete interior, exterior paint, all new flooring, remodel kitchen, remove popcorn ceiling, landscape package, yada, yada, yada. So
Yeah, I have
this,
something similar when I flip houses.
yeah, I flip houses too. So and that's a powerful statement too, right? Because when you're talking to people and they go, yeah, but you're not the only one that does moving concierge, you can say, yeah, but you're going to take advice from a realtor who's never flipped a house for profit. That's not a great idea. I've flipped homes for profit. I'm going to tell you what to do and what not to do based on what's going to give us the greatest ROI. And you, my dear, have that exact same skill and pitch, right? So it makes for a very elegant and sexy, hey, which do you want, A, B, or C? And I'm going to help you with whichever one you prefer. And sometimes I describe this as, this is a continuum of price, but it's also a continuum of convenience. And the lower the price, the more convenient it is, right? Because a cash deal, you don't have to do anything. We're going to close in a time frame that works for you, et cetera. So people really like the elegance of this pitch, and agents like you and I like it because the pivot to list is so elegant as well. because they're just looking at the numbers going, well, this isn't motivating, so let's do this one or whatever, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
enough
figuring
about
out your
that.
motivation.
Right, exactly. So this is our listing presentation. So after we've built rapport and we've done the tour of the home, we come back to the kitchen table. We're also very mindful of culturally who we're going to sit next to, because in some cultures it's wildly offensive to sit next to the wife and that sort of thing. So we practice and train on all this stuff because we just don't want to have any headwinds unnecessarily. Then when I open up my laptop, I use Control L, which is the keyboard shortcut to full screen mode. And what I did there in a split second, it actually took longer because of Zoom, is I just communicated to the audience that I'm tech savvy, right? Because a lot of people are like, how the hell did he do that? And he did it with 2 quick keystrokes. That's part of setting this expectation that I'm a professional, I'm super experienced, and we leave no stone unturned when we're doing this, right? So usually before I launch into the slide deck itself, I'll ask them 3 questions. And those are, what are the top 3 goals you have for this transaction? What are the top 3 things you think you need to do before we can put it on the market? And then what are the top 3 things you expect from the real estate community at large? The answers to those questions are going to allow me to tailor my comments as I go through the slide deck and make sure I'm saying things that resonate with them, right? And I hope you
Right.
don't mind, I'm going kind of fast because we only allotted an hour. So then I go, hey, you know what? I work in an industry where people kind of have done things for the same way, for the same reason for a long time. And that's put a sign in the yard, a key box on the door, and pray. And unfortunately for them, every buyer now has the MLS in their pocket, and you'd better be doing a heck of a lot more than that. But most agents don't. So what we did is we set out to fix the things that consumers were most frustrated with. And we actually identified what the top 20 were, and we really keyed in on the top 3. And don't worry, I'm not going to go through all 20, but the top 3 are poor communication, long drawn out contract, and then basically over promising and under delivering. I'm using my mouse because I would be with you in the kitchen pointing at my screen, right?
Mhm.
Long drawn out contract, that's the easiest one for me to fix. We're actually going to give you a cancellation agreement on day 1. And what that says is you can fire me at any time. Please don't fire me. That's how I feed my children. But one thing you might not realize, Carrie, is that if you haven't read a listing agreement, you don't notice that there is no cancellation language for the seller. There's no termination clause. And I
Yeah.
don't think that's the way it should be. I work for you. So by giving you this cancellation agreement, you know that I'm going to be hustling every day to keep your business and get your property sold, because I know you have this hammer that you can drop at any moment. Does that make sense? And they'll go, yeah. And you'll find I say, does that make sense a lot? I say, does that
Right.
sound fair a lot? Because people
Is that
don't
fair
want to be,
enough? Yeah,
right?
all the terminology. Yeah.
Yep. Now, one thing a lot of sellers don't realize is that agents are independent contractors. So even though you have this opinion of Susie at Windermere, she doesn't have the horsepower of Windermere behind her. She is chief cook and bottle washer. And that's just not ideal because there is a lot that goes on. So we've actually created an assembly line. And then what I do is I draw the point into their wheelhouse. I go, you know, you're a doctor and Mrs., you're a whatever. You have an assembly line in your industries, but it never really caught on in our industry. So that's because the average agent only sells 3.9 homes a year and they can't afford to have staff, right? But we sell a
Mhm.
lot more homes than that. So we do have an assembly line in our industry or in our team, and that allows a higher quality of output and a higher quantity of output. Plus, it gives you 5 people that you can reach out to when I'm in a meeting like this, because I'm not going to answer my phone while we're talking. And if you got my voicemail, you'd already know that you could call my assistants. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, great. Then I go, these are the things that we do in the 72 hours leading up to the listing going live. And that's because first impressions matter, as you know, and we want that listing to be perfect so that when we flip the switch and it populates all of those websites, that it looks the way we want it to, and it gets them the information they need, while at the same time we get notified if they mark it as a favorite or do whatever. They go, oh, okay. So now we're going to focus on pricing, presentation, and marketing. And pricing is first because it's 90% of any marketing plan. And the reason for that is every website that people shop on starts with what's your min and max price that you want to be searching for. And then it asks them about bed, bath, square footage, school district, and whatever. So we have to be very cognizant of that. And pricing is a very critical piece. In fact, I'm going to show you 3 different numbers about your house. One is the market value. And what's funny is most of the agents you talk to are going to quote you a range. And all that means is that they're terrible at assigning a value to a piece of property, because your home has one value, a single number. And I'm going to tell you what that value is. The second number I'm going to tell you is what's the smartest list price strategy to get us the best final sales price, which is the third number. And the market value and the list price are rarely the same number. You probably have noticed that. And they go, oh, yeah, I kind of wondered. So we're going to focus on price. Now, with your property, there are things that we can control and there are things that we can't control. So we're going to give you coaching on the things that are within our control. And then we're just going to minimize any of the negatives that are out of our control so that your home has the best chance to drive the most interest. And they go, okay. Now, I want you to notice on here, this is all about setting the right price and really not going on a fishing expedition. Because a lot of sellers think, well, gosh, if I want to get X, I'd better start at Y, right? And the problem with that, if you look right here, the sweet spot is the market value, right? Well, that's going to get 60% visibility. If we go up just 10%, that falls in half. So we lose half of the eyeballs. So we don't want to do that, right? We want to price it appropriately. Again, so we're going to have a list price discussion to come up with the proper number. And this is a huge factor in that list price strategy. Have you ever heard of the term price bracketing? And they'll say no. And I'll say, well, you probably have already started looking because you're getting ready to move to Atlanta or wherever it is. Have you noticed the homes that you're looking at end in either 900, 950, or 999? And they're like, yeah. And I go, or 888 if they're trying to manipulate the Chinese buyers. They go, yeah. And I go, all that is evidence that none of those agents know how to price real estate on the internet. Because here's how it works. And I'll look around their house and I'll go, let's pretend your home is worth 200,000. And I pick a number that's clearly different than what their home's value is so that they don't think I'm tipping my cards. Sometimes I'll even say, let's say your home's worth $100, right? If I put your home on the market, and those agents are going to probably list it for $99. And then the guy who's searching from and I use my hands when I do this, the guy that's searching from 75 to 100 will see it, right? But the guy who's searching from 100 to 125 won't. If all they did was raise that by $1 and price it at $100 even, they would double the number of eyeballs that would have seen that house. Does that make sense? And they're like, that's brilliant. And I go, so what happens is if we do a CMA on your house, and let's go back to the $200,000 example. If it's worth 190, we should still price it at 200. If it's worth 210, we should probably still price it at 200. Does that make sense? And they go, yeah. Okay, great. Moving on, right?
Okay.
Now I'm going to inoculate you. I'm saying this out of script. I'm going to inoculate them to not be in love with other agents, right? And I do that by saying, one of the things we focus on is pricing it right so that you don't fall into any of these traps. And these traps are agents that don't know how to do their job very well. So trap number one is the agent that just says okie dokie to whatever number you say, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going to say,
you think, sir.
yeah, what do you think it's worth? Well, what do you want to get for it, right? And the problem with that is when he asks you for your number, you think the negotiation has begun. So you're like, if I want to get $1 million, I better say $1.1 million because he's going to try and screw me down, right? So you say 1,000,001, he says okie dokie. Now you're going on the market 10% higher than you should have. And what does it do? It languishes, right? And then he comes and asks you for a price reduction. And that's his method, is price wherever you want it, and then ask for price reductions when the market says you're overpriced. That harms you, because if you had priced at the appropriate number instead of the higher number, it would have triggered a sale sooner. But instead, you're now chasing the market down as your days on market becomes more elongated, right? Broker trap number 2, that's the guy or gal that does know how to price real estate, but they're hoping you don't. He comes in artificially low. You think, well, gosh, I thought it was worth more, but this guy's a professional, so I guess I was wrong. He prices it for 900 and it sells like that, right? Because a smoke and deal doesn't need any marketing. And his commissions went down a little bit, but you just lost 100 grand because of his strategy, right? And then the third trap is the discount brokers. And they've carved a nice little niche for themselves because they know the consuming public is always looking for a discount. But here's the problem. Those discounters reduce their commissions by 67% without you even asking them. And what a lot of sellers don't realize is the negotiations happen between agent to agent. So if they're that terrible at negotiating with their own money, how good of a job are they going to do with yours? Right?
Yeah, I use that one.
That's knee buckling logic, right?
Yes.
So
That's
what we do, we
yeah.
use our right price promise, because what we want to do is analyze the data and then develop this list price strategy based on that data. And in a dynamic market like the market we're in, we're forecasting where it's going.
Just, can you hold on just a second?
I actually even Ryan isn't back yet.
Oh,
But B is watching Bear in
Bear in the Big Blue House. Okay.
And it's kind of sleeting out here.
Yeah, no, I heard the hail. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be in. All right. And I won't be able to bring her out tomorrow because I got a class after school.
Okay. All right. I got her. Thank you. All right. Sorry, my caregiver has to leave.
No worries. I want a caregiver. Holy cow.
Mhm.
All right. Let's talk about presentation. Obviously, your home is lovely. You don't need this advice, whatever is appropriate based on the tour I just got. I'm going to hopefully compliment them. Oh, you're only a short space away from being perfect and ready. We're going to give you advice on how to do that. One of the ways we do that is our property presentation guide. So I'm actually going to give you a document that coaches you up on all the things that you could do that would deliver a return in the final sales price. I'm also going to give you our 75-point checklist, which is what to do in preparation for the photography. So we want this thing to look absolutely perfect, and we're going to help you do that. I'm a certified stager. I'm also going to give you a free staging consult. So if you need that sort of help, great, we got you covered. If I'm in a house where they don't, I tell them you don't even need that sort of thing. First impressions matter, right? So the photography matters. We've all seen it, right? You've seen the photos where the side view mirror is in the photo and you can tell the guy didn't even get out of his car to shoot the photo. It's terrible.
Right.
And the problem with all this is it all gets piped into the internet, right? So we want the photos to be perfect because that's what's going to populate all these websites. What I didn't realize until I started really getting into this is 85% of realtors shoot their own photos on their iPhones. Only 15% use professional photography. And I use professional photography 100% of the time, because even though I shoot thousands of photos every year, I'm still not as good as my photographer. He's gonna Photoshop it. He's gonna make it so your lawn's not brown or whatever. It's gonna look perfect. Now, this slide is really just poking fun at the average agent, because the average agent will have their own website, but usually they only have one. And we have hundreds of websites because we do what's called direct response marketing, not just put a billboard on the moon. We want to drive traffic to a website and give them what they're looking for, which hopefully includes your house, right? Now, the way we do that is we have multiple websites and we have branded and unbranded websites. Because what we found is consumers fall into one of two camps. They either hate big business or they don't care about big business, right? Well, we don't want to have a website that's got EXP all over the place because the guy who hates big business is going to be driven away from it. So we have the unbranded one. Now, the state won't allow us to truly have it unbranded, but what we do is we put EXP.
Sorry, I had another call button.
Oh, I saw it go mute and I figured you could still hear me. So anyway, I can keep going, or we can take a quick hesitation if you got a call.
No, I told him I'd call him back, so.
Okay, perfect. So unbranded just means our names at the bottom in really tiny print. One other site that I have that people love is freenwrealtyinfo.org. What does .org mean to you, Carrie?
An organization, not a business.
Yeah, or a nonprofit, right?
Yes.
And the cool thing is people sort of project onto this website more credibility because of it having .org in the domain name. And at the end of the day, guess what? It still says powered by EXP at the bottom and your house is on it. So whatever site floats their boat, they're going to find your house on it. And we're going to drive traffic to all three because some people are going to gravitate to one over another. Does that make sense?
Cool.
Syndicated listings. Are you familiar with syndication in the context of real estate? And most people are like, no, I've never heard of it. One thing people don't know, and most realtors in our MLS don't even know this, there's only 2 MLSs in the entire United States that don't automatically syndicate the listings, and ours is one of them. And so we syndicate our listings so that we get broader dispersion of the information, because you never know, your buyer might be moving here from Connecticut or something, and we want to make sure that we get the greatest exposure possible. We also use, have you ever read Cialdini? He's a sales psychology expert, and he says there's 5 motivating factors for consumers to make a purchase. Number 1 is fear. So we use countdown timers to trigger that endorphin and cause people to go, oh man, scarcity, right? Now, in our MLS, it's a finable offense to pre-market a house. So we can't count down to the listing going live, but we can count down to open houses. We can also count down to offer review dates. And I'll tell you, the psychology of it, it doesn't matter what we're counting down to. It's just the fact that there's a number on the page that's going 10, 9, 8, and so on. And they're like, wow, you guys are smart. We also are one of the few companies that has a full-time person on staff to promote our listings on social media. They do all the social media sites as well as Craigslist. Do you realize people go to Craigslist to buy houses? And they'll go, no. I go, me neither. I think of Craigslist for lawnmowers. And they're like, yeah, me too. And I go, we create hundreds of leads off of Craigslist from home buyers because they go there looking for houses. So great. We're going to put our listings there so that they can find them. And all of this adds up to more traffic. So we're going to get more eyeballs on your home because we're doing all these activities. And then we're going to convert them to customers. This is our for sale sign. It's an oversized sign. It's actually 30 inches by 30 inches. A couple things to note. One is it stops people in their car because it's bigger. The other is it has this text to phone technology on it right down here. Now, when people go by your house and they text this number to that number, it's going to send them the details about the house. So they're going to get the photos, they're going to get the price, the square footage, and all that stuff. Guess what we get? And I wait for them to answer. And I go, that's right. We get their phone number. Guess what we do with it? You call them? That's right. While they're standing there, we call them in front of the house and go, oh, are you interested in 1234 Happy Street? Is that the one with the red door? Yeah. And we play like we're looking it up online so we can answer questions for them. But really that's just an interstitial like delay to then we go into the script. Oh, are you thinking about making a move in the next little while? We use the universal callback script on all of our lead gen and we book appointments. That's how we do it. But this tool gets us leads while they're still standing out on the sidewalk, which is kind of cool. Have you ever noticed, Carrie, that every buyer comes into a house and they want to know why you're selling? And they go, yeah, that is kind of interesting. And who's the best person to answer these sorts of questions? It's you. But you're going to hear me tell you, don't be there when showings happen, because we want people to be comfortable and project their own life into your home. And they can't really do that when you're standing there. And they go, oh, yeah. So we found a solution for that. We use an Alexa device. And I actually pull it out of my briefcase when I'm in their home. And I've even done it where I've connected it to a battery pack so that it'll turn on and start talking about their house in their house. And they'll be like,
That's cool.
yeah, Alexa going, yeah, well, Carrie's house is the nicest house in the neighborhood. Would you like to know more about it? And they look at me like, holy shit, right? It's pretty cool. But the way it works, and this is part of the spiel, right, is we're going to put devices in your home if you don't have them. We're going to put QR codes around so that people can shoot a picture of the QR code, and that gives them all the questions. And then I'm actually going to send you a link to a website called helpedsellyourhome.com. And that's just a Google form with all the questions. So you'll fill that out. I'll help you, edit some of your answers to make sure Alexa can pronounce them. Like some people put in, one of the questions is, does your neighborhood put on any events? And somebody put in, yeah, we have a St. Patrick's Day 5K. Well, Alexa can't read ST period, right? So I just go in and type Saint so that she pronounces it. Does that make sense? And they go, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We also have created a number of innovative programs to solve some of the issues in real estate. I'm just going to run through a few of them so that you can better understand them. The first one is our Sell for Free program. So we're actually going to put a rider on your sign that says, buy this home, I'll sell yours for free. And you might be wondering why the heck I would do that. Well, I do that for a few reasons, right? Number one is if they take advantage of the program, I'm going to be the one that writes the offer. So I'm going to be able to communicate with you on whether it's strong enough to consider accepting or not, right? Because I'll have the intel on, are they stretching past their limit, or are they going to price the home crazy high? All those things come into play. And it gives you the opportunity to get your home sold faster, because we're now taking what normally is 20% of potential buyers and opening it up to 100%, because 80% of them have a home to sell, right? And in this process, they end up writing you a stronger offer because they're bringing more equity because they don't have a listing commission. Now, between you and me, Carrie, as a realtor, you're going to double end the home that you're talking to, right? And in most cases, it's a move up situation. So I'll sell the other house for free and double end this house, and I'll end up making more money than if I had sold both of them with just a listing commission on each. Does that make sense?
Right. But
Now,
you have double the expenses.
Right. That's right. Now, sometimes at this point, they'll look at you and go, will you sell mine for free? And I'll say, we have a way to do that. We'll cover that at the end. And I just sort of olay it, because we do have a way to do it. We just have to represent them on the home they're buying and get that seller to cover the listing commission, which isn't, in this market, not as easy to do, right?
Yeah. I was like, no way, man.
Right. So that's why you just say yes, but we'll cover that later, and you move on. This is our moving concierge program. So your home doesn't need a thing, or your home would benefit from this. Like I'll start tailoring my comments based on the home I'm in. But the pitch is, we'll remodel your home with our money and you keep the profit. You just pay us back out of the closing. So this one on the screen, you see, we did a
I held this one
300,000.
open.
What's that?
I held this one open.
Yeah. That house was a house in Sammamish. We did a $300,000 remodel, and sold it for 400 grand over asking, a little more than 400. So you got 115,000 extra dollars. So I'll spend more time on this slide if their home is a candidate. I'll spend less time on it if their home is not a candidate.
Right.
Same with this one. More time if they're interested in the cash offer approach, less time if they're home. Like, this is just about our marketplace of hedge funds, but you should take advantage of getting the broadest set of eyeballs on your house because your house is awesome. And then I'll just move on, right? We also have a buyer in waiting program. So all of these programs generate buyer leads, and we cultivate those buyer leads. We qualify them for timing and motivation, and then we keep them in a database so that we can push homes like yours through that database and get it in front of the people that are looking for a home in Puyallup or wherever I am. They're like, wow. We also have a buyer match program. So this is actually a direct mail system where we will look at neighborhoods around your home where your home is a move up neighborhood for it. And we'll hammer those other neighborhoods with mailings about our Sell for Free program. And we'll say, hey, here's this house. It's a perfect house for you if you need more room. And you could take advantage of our Sell for Free program. Give us a call. And we generate more sales because of that. In fact, right now we have about 20,000 people in our database of buyers. This is our inside sales team.
I don't want to list their property for free. I would do it for another point.
Yeah, you can totally do that.
I know. I'm like, why do you do free?
Yeah.
At least get it all your quality for a one discount agent rate. You can sell that. You don't have to take zero.
You can edit this to your heart's content. I mean, you're an independent contractor, so tweak it the way you want. I love that. And I'll tell you what, Carrie, I've signed multiple 7% listing agreements because of all these tools. And they're like, wow, I want all of it. Great. And they go, what's your fee? And I go, 4%. And they go, okay. And I'm like, now all we got to do is figure out what to offer the buyer. And they're like, oh, I didn't think of that.
Oh, crap. Yeah.
Right. But they want everything and they're willing to pay an extra point to get it. And so, did we get many 7% listings in 2020 and 2021? No. Like you didn't even necessarily try at that point because you're busy dealing with the seller.
Yeah.
They're wondering why they even need you. By the time you finish this, they know they need you, but to get 7% would be a stretch. So inside sales, I'll tell them about the MIT study. Are you familiar with the MIT study?
Give me a stat.
I can give you the 30-second version. So when I get to this slide, I go, this is our inside sales team. One thing that we've really built our business around is MIT actually did a study and they were trying to identify how fast do you have to respond to internet leads in order to maximize your chance of converting them to a customer. And what they found was the answer was 5 minutes. And they even went on to say that if you waited just 30 minutes, which still is pretty fast, you were 21 times less likely to convert that lead to a customer. So what did we do? We hired inside salespeople because I could call back within 5 minutes if I'm not in a meeting like this, right? But we wanted to have, 7-day-a-week coverage. So we knew to do that, we'd have to hire it out. So that's what we've done. But that allows the guy who comes to your sign and does the text to phone thing, or the guy who responds to a mailer, or the guy or gal who hits a website, all of them are going to get responded to within 5 minutes. And we even joke about how it's a terminable offense in our company if you don't respond fast enough. And I kind of sound like an asshole, but I say it with a smile and they laugh. And then the first guy that fails to do it gets an earful and the rest of them go, oh, I guess he's serious. Yeah. So, because it matters, right? And you're in real estate, you know why. The consumer goes to 20 more websites in those 5 minutes. So if you don't call, you're going to lose them. Brochures, they're important. We also don't put them on the post out at the street because, as you probably know, the only people that get them at that point are your neighbors. We're going to put them inside the house because if somebody schedules an appointment to come see it, we want them to leave with something to remind them of the house. But we aren't going to just paper the neighborhood with them. We also have a luxury system. So at this point, I'd know if their home's a candidate or not. I'd say your home is perfect for the luxury system. With the luxury system, we actually run ads in the Wall Street Journal, the Robb Report, the New York Times, and others. And Puget Sound Business Journal is probably the biggest benefit of this program because that's going to be an executive who's moving to Seattle for a new job at Amazon or whatever. And we're just going to leave no stone unturned in our efforts to get your home sold. And this is going to be a big part of that. We're also members of the international MLS. So we have Chinese speaking brokers on our team. We have Korean, we have Spanish, we have Brazilian. What else? Anyway, we have.
Yeah, I can't read that.
Right. So
Caucasian. We have Caucasian too.
We have Caucasian. That's right.
All right. Handful of those. All right.
Yeah. And actually, you know, I teach fair housing classes, and I tell them in the class, I go, this is when the point in the presentation where the racists show themselves. And I just go, is it going to annoy you if the highest bidder is Chinese? Like most of my clients don't care about the ethnicity. They just want the money. And even then the racist guy or gal will be like, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. That's good.
Right? Have you ever heard of a reverse offer, Carrie?
No.
And sellers haven't either. So don't be surprised. It's simple. We can write offers from sellers to buyers, and most agents have never even thought of that. But let me give you like a scenario. Let's say you come home from work tomorrow and you find a business card on the counter because Joe from Caldwell Banker came by, right? You're going to call me and go, what did Joe think? What did his clients think? And I'm going to say, well, I've called Joe twice and I've sent him 3 emails, but I haven't spoken with him yet. So I don't know yet what the feedback is. And you're going to be like, okay, let me know. Then the next day you come home and there's a second card from Joe. And now you're like, all right, he's come twice. So then we get on the phone and I go, okay, I have spoken with Joe. His clients really love the house, but they just started looking and they feel like it's too soon to have found the one. So I think we should write them an offer. And let's say they said they didn't like your blinds for some reason. I always like to put a little sweetener in the offer, right? Here's the benefits to you. Number one, you get to start the negotiation, right? So you can set the price for at least the beginning offer. You can also put an expiration on the offer. So now that puts a tangible decision in front of that buyer that has a fuse burning that's going to expire. And it forces them to really think through, hey, when we started our search, we had 12 things we were looking for, and this house has 10 of them. Is it close enough that we should consider this offer, right? So it gives us the opportunity to try and draw them into a negotiation, right? Now I'll tell you a very real story about one, because I've written about 30 reverse offers. 12 of them have closed. So do they all close? No, not even close, right? But no stone unturned, right? That's kind of our approach. But I had one where this story played out in real life. And the buyer didn't have any criticism. They just said, we just think it's too soon. So my client actually said, well, Ed, can we just offer as a sweetener, because you said that was so important, what if we just offered extra commission to the buyer's agent? And I go, that's freaking brilliant. Yeah, what do you think? And he goes, how about $2,500? And I go, that's motivating. Let's do it. So we wrote up this offer, seller signs it. I call the agent and I go, hey, I'm calling because I have an offer for you. And she goes, what are you talking about? I don't have any listings. And I go, no, my seller has written an offer to your buyer. This is on that house on 1234 Happy Street. And she goes, can they do that? And I go, yeah, there's no law that says.
I would probably ask that. I was like, huh.
Right? I mean, it's just shocking, right? But here's the irony though. She actually got indignant. She was like, I don't think that's legal. I'm not doing anything with it. And I go, with all due respect, ma'am, you are going to do something with it because you, by law, have 24 hours to put it in front of your client, or else I'm calling your DB. He's going to put it in front of your client, and then he's going to give you an earful. So what do you want to do? And she caved and said, fine, send it over. So I did. You know what she did, Carrie? She rewrote the offer and had her client sign it because in her mind, it was not going to be legal because we wrote it. And
Wow.
guess what she left out of the offer?
The $2,500 bonus for her.
Yep. She picked her
All right.
own pocket. Is that crazy?
Cool.
But we sold
All
a
right.
house. Like my clients are the ones that set the price in that offer. She copied everything else verbatim. She just left out the bonus. And so my clients were happy to sign it and we closed. So we're just going to be on the lookout, right? If we see somebody that feels like it's really close, but maybe not perfect, we're going to pursue that because real estate is a lot about compromise, right? Everybody sets sail to find a house that has all 12 things, but no house has all 12. But of the one or two that are missing, are those important ones or are they insignificant ones? So we're going to pursue those as they come along. Just keep that in the back of your mind. And the sellers are like, freaking love that.
I did that with some cat and animal smell in the floorboard, subflooring, and the carpeting. We put in an offer to take care of that, and it was just to get them off the fence because that was their big issue.
Yeah.
Rather than
Nobody
them.
wants to smell that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, because a lot of buyers, even agents, don't have the vision of, okay, well, it's not a 10, but what would make it a 10? And is that something we can fix? Right. So we're almost done. So I appreciate you bearing with me.
No, and I'm thinking you can put it in the agent remarks all day long. And then when you're actually talking to them, well, we said that we do a carpet allowance. Oh yeah, I'll let my clients know. Like you already knew that, but
Like
okay.
it was news to them.
Yeah, but no, I like that. I like that idea. I mean, they have to present it. It's in writing.
Yep.
They have a duty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So on
Nice.
this slide, we just talked about training. Our EXP puts out over 80 hours of training a week, and the average agent gets 30 hours every 2 years. So we talk in terms of 15 hours a year, and we do 80 plus hours a week. So we train hard, and I usually drive the point home with, here's kind of the truth. I think sales is an honorable calling. And it's important to me and to the people on my team that we're always sharpening our saw, because I can always do better. And that's why we train and we practice, because iron strengthens iron, that kind of thing. And people usually are like, I've never really heard of somebody being so proud to be in sales, but we're changing, right? We're changing lives, baby. Now,
Carrie, I don't know many. Sorry, Ed. I don't know many brokers that give an hour of their day every day to their team or their people or whatever. When I got started, I was on that well, we did them earlier then, but 9 to 10 now. I was on that call every morning, either in person or well, we didn't even do Zoom back then. This is 2015 and 16. We were online, but we didn't have all that shit going on. But I mean, every day I had access to him and anybody else's questions that they had. So I learned so much quicker by just focusing on 1 hour a day of getting my questions answered and other questions that I hadn't even run into yet. So that's why a lot of people thought I'd been in real estate forever when I was in there for 3-4 years, is because I got so much more training than the average. And that's why most agents fail. They want all this support. They get in and they don't get it, and they have there's a lot of shit to know, really.
There is. And a lot of people, like we had an agent that was 30 years in the industry. He'd still show up at the 9 a.m. thing just every so often when he wanted a second set of eyes on a CMA or whatever. And that's a resource that you'd have available to you 5 days a week if you ever needed it. But a lot of days you won't, and there's nothing wrong with that. So this is all about, I remind them that we talked about poor communications as being one of the top three. In fact, it was number one on the list at the beginning. We solved that using technology. So we have a feedback system. I talk about how the best part about this system is it's unfiltered feedback, because it doesn't do you any good if I make 5 phone calls and then I call you and all I say is, yeah, none of them want it. Well, that doesn't do me any good as a seller. That's not actionable feedback. But instead, they're responding to this questionnaire. And it's the same like showing time. You can edit the questions
You can
but
add
then
it in the showing time, yeah.
yeah. And then they get, well, yeah, it smelled like cat. Okay, that's actionable. We can do something about that. So we analyze all the feedback and decide, is it actionable or is it just, it wasn't the house for us? And so people appreciate getting unfiltered feedback. We're also going to update you every week as the market continues to evolve. As you can tell, you're going to be an expert on pricing when we go live. But then as the week goes by, if new homes come on or other homes go into escrow and we don't, things like that should always be monitored and might influence our decision making on pricing. So I'm going to keep you updated on what's going on with traffic and all that.
This weekly snapshot report, is that something you generate every week? New comps?
Yeah, I just pull it out of the MLS.
Okay, you do that though. That isn't an automated something. Okay.
There is an automated one. Actually, you just gave me a bright idea. There is an automated market snapshot that goes out of KV Core, and you can set it for weekly, biweekly, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks.
Yeah, because I'm thinking when I've got like 20, I'm not going to sit down any given day of the week and redo 20 CMAs.
Yeah. No,
Like at all.
I'd use that.
Okay. Yeah,
I
I
like-
just wanted to see if this is something that you do.
Yeah. I use KV Core for it.
Okay.
KV Core is so much more advanced than our own software that we used for 8 years at our firm. It's crazy. Even though it was our own proprietary software and it was good, it's nothing like KV Core.
No, I'm in Century 21's antiquated. I mean, you click on something and wait 10 seconds for shit to load, and it's terrible.
You love that.
I don't even do it.
Yeah.
I won't even waste
Yeah,
my
it makes
time on it.
it kind of drives you away when your brain is like, I don't have the time to wait. So
Yeah, it's gonna take me 3 hours to update my pipeline. Like, no.
not
I
gonna
envy
do it.
you, and I am very impressed that you can even say that you, when I have 20 listings, it's like, you mean a year? No, in a freaking month,
At the
that's
moment.
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. Yeah, no. Well, as they're sitting longer on the market, I'm not gonna quit producing and getting more, but they're sitting longer.
Yeah. No, that's the most I ever had at one time was 205. That's why I have a shitload of key boxes if you ever want to buy any key boxes.
No, good to know. Good, because I paid full price for like 3 of them a
Yeah.
few months back, and I was kind of pissed.
Yeah, they're not cheap either. So on this slide, I just talk about how, we're focused on doing such a great job. We're going to turn you into a screaming fan and hopefully get a great 5-star review out of you. But anytime I'm falling short, hopefully we're going to have communication before you use the cancellation agreement, and I might be doing something I don't realize, and I'll fix it. So we sell more homes than the average agent. So the NAR study says 3.94 homes a year. The 1629 is how many EXP agents sold last year. So I think now that I've got a year under my team, I'm going to change that because it's just too different.
Yeah.
Right.
I
But
was gonna say that's questionable. You're using one agent versus a company-wide stat.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. The point I made before I moved to EXP was, when it was funny, my office was across the street from the Coldwell Banker office on Bellevue Way, down by Maine. And
No, I don't go there.
right,
But
yeah, I wouldn't either.
yeah.
It's overrated. But they always had a sign on their building every January. It said #1 Coldwell Banker office in the nation again. So that caused me to pull them up. And what I found was they sold that year they sold 185 houses. Or no, I'm sorry, they sold 500 houses, but they had 185 realtors. And I was like, well, shit, we sold 400 houses with 25 realtors. So I guess we're the #1 Coldwell Banker office in the nation too.
I know they can all those stats, they can all be skewed so differently.
I know.
But
It's like,
if I saw this skewing, and actually when I saw it, I was like, yeah, that looks like bullshit.
yeah.
No
So
offense. Please don't be offended.
none taken, none
Okay.
taken at all. This is real though. So the average
All right.
MLS sale last year was 100.4% of asking, and my average was 103.8. So when I'm showing this to people, they go, so your system pays for itself. I go, that's right, because you get 3.5% more money by using me. And the other thing I point out to people is what's really funny to me is this number includes me. So if you pulled my stats out of this, it would actually go down. So the difference is actually greater than 3.4%. And they
Well,
go,
I looked at that and said, well, I wouldn't want to list my house. You listed it too low then. Those are the kinds of clients that I work with. Well, then
yeah.
you didn't list it for enough.
And
Like, oh,
I
well,
would, if you said that
yeah.
to me, I would just
Mhm.
go, actually, the difference is because I have a system for dealing with multiple offers. And they go, what do you mean? And I go, I have a script, I have a templated email, and I have a disclosure form that I make everyone sign, and I get them to strip out the weaknesses in their offer. And while they're doing that, they usually decide to offer more because they don't want to lose. And they go, oh.
Okay.
So I'll be honest though,
Yeah.
I haven't had anybody go, well, that just means you're pricing them too low.
Yeah, I work with a lot of cantankerous old people, I guess.
So you can strip that slide out if you want. Well, what you really are going to do is your
Yeah,
numbers are going to be
customize.
different than mine, right?
Right. I'm gonna customize.
So we also have the 1-day listing guarantee. That's the cancellation guarantee. So we don't lock you in for a year or any of that kind of crazy stuff. And then this is the closing slide. So then what I say is, so Carrie, I've shown you a lot today. Is there anything that really stood out to you? What did you notice? And then they're either going to say, well, I really like the reverse offer or whatever, right? They're going to cite a couple of things, but the majority of people go, just the fact that it's so comprehensive, you think of everything. And I go, that's right. Am I the best guy to help you get your home sold? And they either say yes, or they say something that's not yes, right? If it's
Mhm.
not yes, then we start handling objections. Like if they say, yeah, but what are you going to charge me? Or yeah, but what are you going to list it for? Or they say, the one I hate is, well, yeah, but we're not deciding today because we still got to interview more people. If they say that, then it's my fault because I asked that question when I booked the appointment. I say, how many people are you going to interview and can I go last? Because I want to remove that objection by going last and making sure both decision makers are there.
And
Right?
see, I'm like, what time are they gonna be there? Because I could be there the hour before that. See, I'm the
Yeah.
other agent.
So you like to go first?
Get in there first, and then at the end, okay, so when I get to the part about they're going to interview other agents, I tell them, well, I've already thought of that. I get a list of the top producers, and I direct market to them because I don't want to just leverage my database of buyers. I want to leverage their database of buyers. And remember earlier when we talked about, you know, 15% of real estate agents are doing 90% of the business.
Right.
So the top producers, I get a list, direct market to them, leverage both our databases, funnel all that traffic to you. So anyone that you might be thinking about hiring
They're
that
gonna
meets my kind of qualifications, I'm already going to be marketing to them. So if you don't have any other reason, or if we're in agreement on price and the time frame you'd like to get it sold, let's go ahead and get your paperwork done. I catch them right there.
Yeah, I like that.
Hard
I'm not trying to go
closer.
last.
Do you bring the list, or you know the names because you've already done the research, or is that just a dialogue you use and then you worry about it later?
Dialogue I use and I worry about it later.
Yeah.
And when I'm reporting to them on my weekly reports, I actually have a list of the agents that I've reached out to, my 100 circle prospecting, my reverse prospecting. I give them a list who hung up on me, who didn't answer, who I'm getting back to. Like they'll have an actual number. That stuff showing my value, I don't mind doing that every week, but I'm not rerunning comps on everything every week.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
No, and I didn't explain it very well because I'm not doing a CMA. I'm telling them if something new came on or if something's sold.
Oh, okay. You're just monitoring and letting them know if there's a change.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you were redoing that every week
No,
until,
no.
oh, yeah. I was like, wow,
Yeah. Well, and
that's a lot.
if we have to extend the listing or do a price reduction or something,
Oh, yeah.
then you're
CMA.
probably going to do a CMA. But
Oh, there's CMA, Info Sparks, all of it. Yeah,
yeah.
that sucks. I hate those.
So what'd you think?
I'm really intrigued. I really am. My
Love intrigue.
my I have a couple of agents that are waiting for me to land. So because they want to be on a team.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure about the team building. I could do that listing presentation with embellishments or taking some of the stuff out that I don't like. You know, you sound really similar to when I do a presentation, and with just a few tweaks. I
Yeah.
talk more about their property in depth, but that wasn't the point of this.
Yeah.
So I mean, really similar, but you've got a couple extra tools in your tool belt. What mine are really, just real quick, what my people get a little excited about when I watch their expressions
Yeah.
is when I'm doing my listing presentation, and I'm out of an old school book. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm out of a book, but when I get into, most people don't even realize there's over 840 websites just dedicated to real estate, 32 different countries, translated into 19 different languages. And then you got to slow it down and pace it. But I've got a list of them all. And they're
Yeah.
like, wow, like no other company does this for you.
I love
This is, yeah. So by the time we get to the end of it, there's no reason that they shouldn't list with me unless we're not in agreement on price. And I don't wait for other agents to show up. In fact, I'll call them for them. Like, hey, I just took this listing. I didn't want you to waste your time. If they're
I do
agent,
that too.
yeah.
Because they're
Don't
like,
waste your time.
now I got an awkward call to make. I'm like, no, you don't. I'll make that.
No, don't even worry about it. Don't even
Yeah.
worry about it. I work in the industry. Just give me their name. I'll reach out to them and make sure that they know.
I love that.
Yeah.
See, we were
She's
separated
a
at birth.
killer.
Yeah, this is no, I really like the tools, and that's okay. So the other companies that I've looked at, I've been trying to get some kind of idea. Like, I get it. I'm a salesperson and my real estate knowledge, blah, 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 right?
Right.
What I need to know is, what am I selling? And it's like, nobody can answer that question. What are the tools that I'm selling? Because I'm selling a service, and my tool belt or my toolbox has all of this. This is what I'm selling. Like, I'm kind of blown away. Like, people have tried to poach me, and I'm like, I'll talk to you, but they have no idea what they're even selling.
Yeah.
Well, we just kind of make our own flyers or show up with listing paperwork in a folder and an expired listing or something. Well, let's talk about this. Like, what are you doing? So
You're like, you make it up every time. Is it different every time?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm wondering. Like, so I really, your listing presentation, there's some extra tools in the tool belt. And when you said, you go and when you put the house on the market, I was like, yeah, most agents will stick a sign in the yard and put it on the MLS and go home and make a sandwich and just wait.
Yeah.
I said, that's not me. I'm aggressively pursuing buyers for you all day, you know, every single day until we get it sold. So,
I love that.
yeah, no,
I know there's
you're
some stuff I could learn from you. I'm sure of it.
yeah,
Yeah, I
just
don't
little
think you have to change
differences.
anything about what you're doing because you're already successful, but just have an opportunity that I don't even think you've dug deeper into what EXP can be for you long term for your goals of a nonprofit and having a team that can plug in and build passive and residual income for you. But maybe you're not into that. I know you've said you want to build a team, so maybe you are. So
I
that's
need a team because here's the thing. This isn't I mean, I'll have my license, real estate license, you know, till I'm
Forever.
incoherent, I guess. But no, my next thing is my nonprofit and the group homes and stuff.
Yeah.
So I have people that are waiting for me to land and get plugged in so they can come over. I kind of have a team of people just waiting for me to figure my shit out.
Well, figure
you
your
know
shit
what,
out.
what would, I know
Yeah.
what I think would really be maybe even a little bit more in depth. We're going to be here with the tools and the training, and we'll adapt, and we'll even add some of yours because you're successful. We're not like stuck in the specific way that we're not going to morph and keep growing and learn new stuff. But
But your ego, you wouldn't get a bruised ego if somebody brought something to the table.
Nope.
That's so
We've
funny.
always made fun of the guy or gal who says, well, we've always done it that way. That doesn't make it right.
Oh, that's my morning meetings. It's the freaking Ron and Stewie show. It's fucking crazy. Pardon
Right.
my language. Yeah.
what the first one is your meeting is
Oh,
what?
oh, my morning meeting. It's like the Ron and Stewie show. You know, it's like
Not Ren
let's
and
all pat
Stimpy or
ourselves on the
whatever that
back.
was.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you don't know. It's just frustrating that I get up at 7:30 to get on a meeting. Sometimes it's good and I get some little nuggets, but most of the time it's, you know, it's not coaching. It's a couple of agents that just want to boost their egos and
Shoot the shit and
shoot the shit and everybody. And then, you know, and then we get sometimes it's an hour long lecture from the owner about how